G'day, we're going to have a quick look into this HP Probook for G1a 16. It's a 16-inch business laptop. Now in 2025, HP have, like other manufacturers, have undergo a bit of a name change for the business laptop, more for the model itself, and this one has the new name. Now the previous model was called the Probook, and then probably the model number, which is 440, and I'm just giving you an example of G11, which is generation 11. Now this one here, it is the Probook 4, and that just gives you an idea of what kind of class it is. And then we've got the G1, which is probably generation 1, and the A at the end, which means this is the AMD version, and then 16 being the 16-inch display. So hopefully it gives you an idea of how to break down the name. Now the actual processor in here, again, I did say it's AMD. This is the Hawk Point, so it is AMD Pro. Now we're gonna have a quick look at temps and fanners, some of the benchmarks of this, as I'm gonna try and make this video as short as possible. Now as for the chassis wise, I have compared to the previous model, which is the Probook 460 G11, and it is pretty much very similar. I don't think they've changed that much besides the processor. Now just to give an idea here, I don't have the 16 with me. I've got this 14-inch, this is the Probook 440 G11, and again it looks very similar in every sort way, even the keys and all. So just to let you know, there's not much change there to this model. What we're really interested in is the actual processor and how that handles it for the performance, the battery life, and you will know, as most corporates, there is a nice little bit of a better costing to the AMD version. So hopefully this will give you an idea on what it performs, and is this a great model to actually look for your fleet. Now let's get on with it.
The Probook G1a 16 comes with a 56 watt-hour battery, and when I test out that battery life, I managed to get 11 hours and 23 minutes for the modern office battery life test in PC Mark 10, 1 hour and 37 minutes for gaming, and 11 hours and 40 minutes for video playback on the Probook battery life test. I can actually consider this all-day battery life, considering this is a business laptop, so it does more than your 1 8-hour working day. Looking at temperatures and fan noise, when I took my measurement, the ambient temperature room was 19 degrees Celsius. And just to give an idea of how hot or how cool this laptop could be, my hand measured in at around about 35 to 36 degrees Celsius at this room temperature. So I took my base measurement when the computer was idle, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius. As for the fan noise, it pretty much stayed dead silent at 35 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 36 degrees Celsius. Then I put 20% load on all the system resources. That's pretty much average use. That's tasks like office productivity work, surfing the web, streaming video, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it pretty much still stayed silent at 35 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 45 degrees Celsius. Then I put 50% load on all the system resources, and the hottest air around the keyboard didn't really increase that much. It only managed to measure in a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it did spin up a little bit and measure in at a maximum of 36 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 61 degrees Celsius. Then I put 100% load on all the system resources, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 37 degrees Celsius. So it's only just slightly more warmer than my hand, but really you don't really feel it that much at all. And the fan noise hit a maximum of 39 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 73 degrees Celsius. While maintaining 100% load, I also measured the bottom back cover, and the hottest air around the bottom back cover measured a maximum of 41 degrees Celsius. So not really that hot around the front area, and on the back area, I definitely would say shouldn't really be putting it on your lap, just in case. Overall, the AMD version of the Probook 4 G1a is really nice. It really doesn't get that warm at all, even on maximum load.
Now having a quick look at the build construction, this is a business laptop. It is robust. It is made of entirely aluminium for the chassis. The top cover, the bottom cover, and the palm rest is all aluminium, and it does very well. So as always, my bench test flex test, it does pretty good. And also, let's just do the keyboard flex. It doesn't have that much flex there at all, so it does really, these are business with them. Take punishment is what you can easily say. Now, just to give you an idea of the hinge, which we can quickly do the hinge. So one finger, and it does grip a little bit, and then you just got to give it a look. But I'm still using one finger, so enough that it is smooth all the way to there. And it is 180 degrees. Now, there probably is a X360, which then does the flip. This is the clamshell model. Continuing on with the hinge test, I'm just going to do the wiggle test to see how the magnets are for it, and I can actually see it is letting go a little bit. So maybe HP can probably make the magnets to actually keep, or even the hinge to make it a little bit more stronger to actually keep. So it is letting go a little bit, so I can see it's opening on this side, and this side not so much, but a little bit, just very little tad there, just to get an idea there.
Measuring the color gamut coverage of the 16-inch non-touch Full HD Plus display, which had an anti-glare or matte finish to the display, and it also measured in a maximum brightness or luminance rating of 331 nits. It resulted with 55.3% sRGB coverage, 38.3% Adobe RGB coverage, and 39.4% DCI-P3 coverage. Now, this is what I would say probably below average for a display in terms of color reproduction. So it's really just here to really do your office productivity work and also your media consumption. But that's about it. I wouldn't really use it for photo editing or video editing. Audio wise, it has dual bottom firing Poly Studio speakers. And when I tested the maximum volume of the speakers, it managed to measure a peak of 85.4 decibels. Now consider this in the medium range compared to other laptops. And if you're doing a video conference outdoors or at a cafe, you should be okay there. As for the sound quality of the speakers, I'll probably just rate it just slightly above average compared to the average business laptop. It has been improved by the Poly Studio, and I do know it is a business laptop that is more going towards the highs for the vocals as for the video conferencing, which it does have very strong highs, but it has got a bit of weak bass there. And the acoustics, I'll probably give it a pretty average there. So as for the speakers overall, it does the job, but I wasn't really slightly impressed by if it really stand out compared to other laptops. Here's results of the benchmarks performed on the Probook for G1a 16. Here is results for Pathmark, Citybench 2024, PC Mark, 3D Mark, Crossmark, Crystal Disk Mark, Geekbench 6, Procon Office, Procon Windows ML, Blender, SpecView Pref 2020, and some gaming benchmarks like Far Cry 6, F1 2024, and Black Myth Wukong. Having a quick look at the internals, we've got the 56 watt-hour battery at the bottom here, and the battery connector is right here. It's a good idea to disconnect the battery if you're working internally. And we've got the one slot of M.2. Now this is the 2280 format, and it's got a heat shield here. Now underneath this heat shield, which is nice to see there, I've pried this open very slowly. Be careful if you do. And we've got two SODIMM slot for the memory or the RAM. And then we've got the Wi-Fi Bluetooth module right here. And also we have another wireless rolling Bluetooth, and you can get a 4G version as well. And we've got the processor sits underneath here, and we've got a single heat pipe and a single fan system here. And how the airflow goes is comes in from the bottom and then gets redirected right out there. And that's the internals there.
Overall, the HP Probook for G1a 16 is a wonderful business laptop. We've got great chassis, very robust, it does its job very well. We've got a great amount of ports and a good full-size keyboard with the number pad on the right. Now, as for the performance-wise, it is AMD Hawkpoint, and it does absolutely amazing. And it is actually, for the temperatures, it is very well controlled. Fan noise, I think HP have actually calmed it down to actually bring this being a very quiet business laptop. So I'm actually surprised how well it did in the performance, being with the actual fan kept very well. So kudos to AMD for being very great performance for their processor. I like to see the Intel version. I will be hopefully getting the Intel version so I can actually compare the results. But so far, what I see, very great stuff. So as an enterprise, I do know there is a bit of a cost saving for the AMD version compared to the Intel version. Definitely look into it, as this is a great either for the mass fleet that you use as a replacement to the Intel, and also the actual battery life is right up there and is definitely a little bit better that I've seen from all the other tests I've actually tested out. Later in the next video, you will hopefully see the Dell version, but definitely this is a great substitute for the Intel version. So definitely consider this if you're buying a fleet of computers. You probably find you'll save quite a bit of money there. Now, I hope you find this video informative and enjoyed it. If you did, even support my channel, smash that like button for me, share this video, it does help me out. And as always, imperfections in life makes you beautiful and interesting. And I'll see you next video.